started drinking the whiskey about midway through the show, and then um, the next thing I know, I'm opening my eyes in my van, and it's the next day. And I'm just like, oh shit, what happened on the show? So I think maybe the last half hour of the show was such a blur. I don't really quite remember getting the van, but I had a nice sleep in the parking lot. It was amazing. And then I kind of was a little nervous about, like, geez, what? That's a weird feeling when you
don't know what you said.
Don't know what you said.
Yeah.
And I called my mom. So
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Drink by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Cheers. See you, bro. You too.
What is happening?
Yeah. Crazy day, man. Made it back. Last time I saw you, I don't know, my eyes might have been a little crossed.
Well, last time I saw you was last night.
Right, that's
and the night before last.
Yeah, that's true. We'd start with that then.
But the last time we saw each other on a podcast,
yeah,
things went a little west. We got a little intoxicated.
So absolutely. So, the whiskey kept pouring, and that was when I had that van. So I still have the van, but at the time I was kind of living in the van, traveling in the van. So I drove
heavy COVID. This is like
heavy
the beginning of COVID, where it was like weird to be around each other. Like, we okay? We got tested.
Yeah,
okay,
right. We did.
Right,
Got the COVID test, and then I had the van out the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we started drinking the whiskey about midway through the show, and then the next thing I know, I'm opening my eyes in my van, and it's the next day, and I'm just like, oh shit, what happened on the show? So I think maybe the last half hour of the show was such a blur. I don't really quite remember getting the van, but I had a nice sleep in the parking lot. It was amazing. And then I kind of was a little nervous about, like, geez, what? That's a weird feeling when you
don't know what you said.
Don't know what you said.
Yeah.
And I called my mom. And everybody seemed, like it was. People thought it was funny, but I mean, I think she was a little concerned about the amount of drinking. But no, it was a great time. But I'm not.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It was fun. So we got a little off the rails. You didn't have to go anywhere.
No.
Your van was parked.
It was awesome.
What is it like sleeping in parking lots? That's got to be an odd thing.
Well, I rarely did that in the van. It was mostly out in these remote desert parks, like out in Bureau of Land Management land, BLM land in the desert.
Yeah.
And I was going around filming, and so I wasn't. But there was a couple of times I'd sleep in a truck stop because I was wanting to make a lot of distance. So I'd drive until I kind of couldn't keep my eyes open, and I'd pull over at a truck stop and sleep.
Sketchy proposition, right? You don't know who's around.
Yeah. Well, in the desert, it's a little more nerve-wracking because you're all alone out there, and people can see the van in the distance, and it's a pretty nice van. So, yeah. I was hoping for that, but
nothing.
No aliens. I had a nice flyover from the U.S. fighter jet in the Trona Pinnacles, this amazing part of desert in California.
Oh, yeah.
And I was the only person there, and I could tell this fighter jet saw me, and he just kind of came right over.
Oh wow!
Right over
just to say hi.
Yeah, and I didn't get my camera out in time.
I flew in one of those ones.
Yeah.
With the Blue Angels.
Oh yeah.
God, it's insane when you realize what those jets can do. And I think what they were flying was like an FA-18. See if that's true.
Nice. Yeah.
I think that's it. That's what we did. And
they were actually.
I think they have more capable jets now, because this is when I want to say this is like 2003, 2, something like that. Way back in the day, I have a plaque. It says you flew with the Blue Angels.
Well, major G forces. I've never been in a fighter jet.
Yeah, I did. I think I did 6.5 Gs, something like that. And I stayed conscious, but then I blacked out when I forgot to do the hooking on a lesser run. Like it was lesser. It was like 4 Gs or something like that.
Forgot to do the.
No, I'm sorry. You when you're when you're going through high G's, you do a thing called hooking. I think that's what they say. Where you hold on to the joystick, or you can hold on to your straps on your legs if you're the passenger like I was. And you're like this. And you're literally forcing blood into your head to stay conscious.
Yeah.
So while we're doing this, that's what you're doing. See how she's doing that?
Nice.
See how she's doing it?
Yeah. So this is
That's
why...
how you stay conscious. Yeah. That's how you stay conscious. You have to force the blood into your fucking brain.
It seems like it's kind of slightly on the edge of not being a perfect system, right? Like,
well,
it's like
you got to be a bad motherfucker to fly those things. Those guys were all lifting, like all those Blue Angels pilots. They were all jacked. They're all like super diesel.
Yeah.
Because these guys are just fucking, they're wrestling with that thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not as simple as, like, you're like, the physical force of going to 6 Gs is so extraordinary. You haven't felt anything like it in your life. And these guys can go to, like, 13 Gs, some of them.
Yeah,
It's fucking insane.
I don't think I would want to do that, actually. I would probably just, I sometimes don't want to do those kinds of things.
You don't have to.
Yeah. It looks amazing, but I just feel like...
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Just as a wake-up call. Like, you think you understand. You see a jet, and I think of it almost like, well, obviously, like, driving a race car is very difficult, right? But driving a car fast is not that difficult.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you have a good car, if you buy a new car today that handles really well, you can, if there's no one around, you can go pretty fucking fast, and it's really in control. But those things are different. It's like, there's a physical experience. It's so fast. There's so much power and force behind those things.
You got a plane yet? You getting a plane, Joe? No.
No. Bill Burr pilots. Bill Burr flies around a goddamn helicopter.
Yeah,
that's around downtown LA. You can fly wherever you want in a helicopter.
Yeah, helicopters are even more of a no-no for me because they seem to go down a little too much. You know, I've been in a few. I flew in a Black Hawk through Baghdad, and we did one of those USO tours. Went to stand up over there back in 2003.
How was that?
That was pretty wild experience. It was right before, like, it was probably, fortunately for my nervous system, right after the mission accomplished banner and right before shit hit the fan with the IEDs. So I was kind of thinking, oh, it's okay, no big deal. And we were over there in the green zone, and we were flying around in a Black Hawk helicopter. One night they said, you want to go out on a night patrol in like a tank? And I was all set to go, and then they had to cancel it because of some sort of attack. And then we started hearing there's some stuff happening. We were there for a few days only, but they started avoiding, stuff on the road and the Humvees. And then the second I got back to stateside, that's when it started to get real bad over there. But I did a few of those. I did Afghanistan as well, and was on Chinook helicopters.
Oh, wow.
So my dad was military, so that's why I'm rocking the Canadian Army jacket. Canadian Army, we've got an army.
I heard recently. Recently heard about it. They didn't fight too hard against tyranny.
Here we go. No, it's well, we did. Actually, we fought pretty hard against the Germans. And, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. Well, yeah, it's fun. I watch your show all the time, Joe. So it's the kind of and I'm a very proud Canadian. So
Tom, you're the granddaddy of the show.
The granddaddy. Well, yeah. I don't know about that, but I mean, first of all, you've always been very nice to give me a shout out about those early days of broadcasting in the living room, huh?
Well, dude, you're an awesome guy. I've always loved you. You're always cool to be
Love it, KG, Kyle.
You also, your show in 2007, when I went on your show, that was 100% a major inspiration. Because I remember thinking, oh my God, he figured it out. Like, I remember very clearly, like, sitting next to you on that chair going, dude, this is it. Like, this is it. All you have to do is figure out how to make money with this.
Yeah, you said that on the show.
Yeah.
It's hilarious, and then you figured that out. Yeah. You really figured that out. That's cool. That's the missing link, damn it. But no, that's amazing. No, it's I remember when we were doing it, I had I always wanted to do a talk show when I was growing up. I loved Letterman, right? And done my show on.
You were great at it.
Yeah, I really did enjoy. The first show was more me out in the street doing crazy stuff, and we did a talk show, which was a little bit more of a sort of a nightly show, a little bit more time to talk, and I did love doing that. When the show stopped, it was right at the time of technology changing on the web, and that was kind of always kind of like I was kind of looking at technology usually, because when I was a kid I was in a rap group, and I was from technology, right? And I remember drum machines came out, and I listened to Public Enemy, these sounds, how do you do that? And I would go work a summer job. I'd buy a sampler, an Kai S900 sampler, and an Atari computer. I'm making beats in my parents' basement in Ottawa, Canada. No one's making beats in Ottawa, Canada. We started this group called Organized Rhyme.
What years is
this? Was we started in mid-'80s.
So it was all pre-internet.
Yeah, pre-internet. Yeah. This is high school.
So how are you finding out about this?
Well, that was friends at school were listening to rap music, so friends at school were like, hey, you gotta check out Public Enemy, you gotta check out Boogie Down Productions. Boogie Down Productions, and then you get a cassette of like the criminal-minded Boogie Down Productions Bridges Over album, and you're listening
I don't know why it's quiet.
Rapping about Scott the Rock, the DJ.
It's real loud on my phone.
Unfortunately, passed away in bad circumstances and shot and killed, and then you're listening to this sort of. That was the internet.
Let's explore his body together, Cal.
Music and skateboarding. Thrasher magazine was skateboarding. You read stories about skateboarders in California in a magazine. You listen to rap music and hear stories about people who are not in Ottawa, doing cool shit. And I was kind of wanting to get up on stage and perform. I was kind of dabbling with stand-up as a Yuck Yucks in the comedy club in Ottawa. And so...
When you say dabbling?
Well, I was doing stand-up, but I never really got to really, a level where I was doing it every week. I was going down every week for a couple of years. And actually the reason I stopped was because the rap group got kind of sort of a record deal, basically. And I kind of went focused on that for a while and stopped doing stand-up. But yeah, the club in Ottawa, Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, still there. It's moved, but it's owned by Howard Wagman, who's Yuck Yucks is kind of like the Improv of Canada. It's chain all across the country. Mark Breslin, I'm sure you know Mark. He started it, and it's kind of like it was wild because I don't know, it was something about the 80s, the 90s, before the internet, right? You'd go down to a comedy club and you'd find out about stuff just through word of mouth, like the rap music and like comedy. So I would go down to the comedy club, and I remember Norm Macdonald come through. He was probably 25 years old, right? And I'm 16 in the audience, and then I got to become this huge fan of Norm, and he was Norm. But back then there wasn't a lot of people doing stand-up like Norm. Like there wasn't this sort of angle of sort of this absurdity to it. This sort of it was more of a structured, down the middle way of doing stand-up back then, and so Norm was this sort of this sort of curveball, and we just couldn't get enough of it. So every time he was in town, we'd be down there. But Howard Wagman told me this story about Norm, and the first time he came down to do stand-up at Yuck Yucks in Ottawa, and he got off stage and he was disappointed in how it went. Norm was. He said, "Never doing this again." He walked down the street. Howard Wagman chased him down Stark Street in Ottawa and said, "No, that was great. You're coming back." And he made him come back, and the rest is history.
Well, Norm was a legitimate genius.
Yeah.
Like a genius of life. Like a rare specimen.
Mm-hmm.
Like genius in not just that his comedy was brilliant, but just like, look at this. I've never seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Like a totally different kind of human.
Yeah.
And genuinely always funny. Like every conversation was funny.
Mm-hmm.
It was just funny. I was on a plane with him accidentally twice.
Nice.
Twice.
This has been amazing.
Twice on two separate occasions. Just totally random.
Uh-huh.
We sat next to each other on the plane, like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And the last one, it was so funny. Because he was telling me about how he quit smoking. Yeah, I quit smoking. It's fucking turns out it's real bad for you. Like, this whole thing about quit smoking, and we were talking about it, like how hard was it to quit, this whole thing. The moment we land, he walks into the gift shop, buys a pack of cigarettes, and he's lighting them before he gets out the door. I thought he quit. He goes like, "Danny, but all that talking about it made me want to smoke."
Yeah, it's probably all an elaborate setup. Probably he's planning it the whole way.
I don't know.
Who knows? He probably doesn't even smoke. He was just doing it as a gag. No, he was.
Well, he was into gambling too, right? So,
Yeah.
like, people that have those kind of, like, impulse control issues, like, gambling is a big impulsive thing. Like, fucking bet on it. Let's put the bet.
Yeah.
You're tuning in.
That kind of
It is
wild,
your
crazy sports gambling too.
That's not a good addiction to have, especially when you have money, right?
That's a scary addiction, man. I watched Dana White gamble. I watched Dana White play blackjack, and he was down $600,000.
Yeah.
And my fucking hands were sweating. I was going, "What are you guys doing? That's real money.
Yeah.
This is so crazy."
Yeah.
He does it every night.
Yeah.
He does it constantly. There's people that love it. They love it. They love the action. It's thrilling.
For me, fortunately, I've never liked numbers. Like math was never something I enjoyed. So when it comes to blackjack, you're doing math in my head, and I get very uncomfortable. So I go, I'm not going to be good at this.
That's a great reason to not gamble. You hate math.
Yeah,
class.
I just figured I'm not going to be good at this because I can't even really add up what I'm supposed to be doing here quickly. So I'm just going to just sit on the side. Plus, I'm cheap. I don't know. Lose money.
Not a math person, you know.
Yeah.
It's a concentration thing. It's like if you quit on math, really got good at the basics of it, and then really started getting into more complex mathematics, it'd probably be very fun. Probably be very exciting. But the problem is I never concentrated in high school at all. I didn't pay attention to it. So I'm so removed. Like if people start talking about math, like complex shit.
Yeah. I checked out at long division. Long division, I checked out.
Like, are calculators available? They're pretty much everywhere, right?
Right.
And aren't there like an unlimited supply of batteries and like
Right. This is what I'm wondering. Now with our phones and our Google and everything, that we don't have to learn any of that anymore.
I don't know anyone's phone number.
We don't have to learn anything anymore.
I know like Eddie Bravo's phone number. I know my wife's phone number, and I know two other numbers.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had 100 numbers in my head.
Yeah.
You can call your grandmother.
I still remember my phone number from when I was a kid.
Yeah, you can call your friends.
I could say it now, but that person probably wouldn't like that very much.
I got my phone number memorized from when I was in high school. It was our first phone number. I couldn't believe we had a phone number. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, but
I mean, we had phone numbers before, but that was the first one that I remember. And then that was the first answer machines too.
Right.
That was wild.
Remember, if you're out and you're trying to meet somebody and they're going to meet you and then they don't show up and you want to figure out where they are, you go to a payphone, put a quarter in it, call your phone, and then put your code in and check your answering machine or your voicemail from the mall.
And you thought you were
And
living
then
in the
they would
future.
leave a message on your answering machine to tell you, hey, sorry, I'm going to be a little late, and then you hang up and it cost you a quarter. But that's how crazy everyth's changed in such a small amount of time.
You were gone. No one knew where the fuck you were.
Absolutely.
There was no Snap map. Kids today, they look at each other on Snapchat maps where they all know where they are at any moment in time. There's no shenanigans.
Yeah.